When working in PowerStats, you'll notice that the variables are categorized into two main types, continuous and categorical. And this distinction is important because the type of variable you're working with influences how you analyze the data and how you interpret it. There's another layer to understand. Categorical variables can be further divided into two types, nominal and ordinal, and this distinction matters when choosing your analysis type and interpreting results. Let's start with continuous variables. These variables can take on any value within the range. That's why the little icon for it there is like a graph where the lines are totally connected. Student's age would be a continuous variable because given the possible age ranges, the student could have any value in that range. They could be 20 years and 2 months, 20 years, 2 months and 1 day, etc. The whole range of values are possible. Same thing with income. Household income would be a continuous variable because it can take on any value in that range. Now let's take a look at categorical variables. The icon for them is the little bar chart there. And as I pointed out, there's two types of these, nominal, and nominal are the kind where there is no natural order to the categories. For example, race would be nominal, gender would be nominal, because the different categories, there's no order to them. On the other hand, for ordinal, there is an order. That's where the root word of ordinal is. If you break the ages into two separate categories, say under 25 and 25 and older, those are two categories, so it's categorical, but there's an order to it, so it's ordinal. You could break income, which would be a continuous variable, but you could break it into categories of under a certain income and over a certain income. Now, what if you need to create a variable? I'm going to show you how to do that. You may have a research question that has categories that aren't available in the categorical variables that are listed. For example, they give age as a continuous variable, and then they also give it as categorical. So if we take a look at the categorical, and let's say we're going to make this a row variable, and you can't look at these until you've chosen an analysis type. So I did that. Well, they've got this as a categorical variable, but what if my research question doesn't have these categories? Because you can combine these categories, but you can't change them. You can't make different cutoffs. So let's say our research question, we need the categories of 21 and under and over 21 years old. So we're going to have to make a categorical variable from the continuous age variable. And we want it to be a row variable. And now here, create your own custom category ranges. That's what we're going to do. Well, actually, we could choose them here, but I'm going to show you another way because I chose 21 and under, but we're going to make our own categories this way. Add a category. They tell you the minimum age is 15, so we want from age 15 to, I believe I said 21, and we're assuming you wrote a research question where you asked a question about these two categories of ages, so we need the variable for that. So this is going to be 21 and under, and then add a category, 22, and they tell you over here the maximum is 75, so our maximum is 75. And you can just leave the variable name like that, or change them to match the way you've written your research question. Over 21. And save it. It sets it up here. Those are going to be these are our independent variables. And let's say the research question is asking about degree attainment within 6 years. We want to know if degree attainment is different for these two groups within 6 years. So we need degree attainment. And see, they have this as both continuous and categorical. So let's take a look at the categorical version. And this is for the column. attained bachelor's degree at first institution, attained one but not at the first institution. Well, if our research question doesn't care where they got their degree, we just want to know, did they get a degree? Then we're going to create our own category, put these two together, add a category, and we can change the name to not be so long. These are the degree. And now you have to check this box before you can add another category. Otherwise, this isn't clickable. It has to be in that order. No degree. And you might want to leave the word bachelor's in there, just depending. And then save it. So now you've got your two variables, and you've created this categorical variable, which is ordinal. And it's important to remember that it's ordinal. For this analysis, percent distribution, it doesn't matter that it's ordinal. But if we do a logistics regression, to interpret the logistics regression, you need to understand that it's ordinal. This video is just about variables, so I ran it so that I can show you how to save the variables and then where they are after you've saved them. This little icon, the floppy disk, is the save. So we're going to save the variables and give them names. Okay, the bachelor's degree, we can just call it degree for our purposes. And then for age, let's call it age category, whatever you want to call it. And then select them and select a group. We're going to have to make a new group to put them in. So let's call these our, whatever your research question is. Let's say research question 1. And then see, they're selected. You've given them a group name and you save them. Now they're successfully saved. Now when we go back to the workspace, you might want to run another analysis. Those variables only exist in this data set, the data set you were using here that you just saved them in. And you may not want to create them every time you run an analysis if you want these same things for several different questions. So you have to hit this pull down menu, show my saved variables. And now this is how you get these variables. Well, that's everything for this video on understanding variable types in PowerStats. We covered the two main types of variables, continuous and categorical, and the important distinction between nominal and ordinal categorical variables. These concepts are crucial for understanding how variables are treated in different types of analyses, and also how to save your variables and how to find them again after you've saved them.